The Vote Yes campaign for the upcoming Indigenous Voice to Parliament is ramping up. The organisation Yes 23 led 25 events across the country today ahead of the vote later this year. The Come Together for Yes events unofficially launch the next phase of the campaign and coincide with the beginning of NAIDOC Week. Holly Edwards-Smith reports from the Melbourne launch.
Hundreds braced a cold and wet morning at the Victorian Trades Hall in Melbourne to mark the unofficial start of the Yes 23 campaign. The event included speeches, a smoke ceremony and even live music, attendees showing their support for an Indigenous voice to Parliament.
What is the answer to the question? Yeah! What is the answer to the question? Yeah!
25 events ran across the country in capital cities and regional communities as the Yes campaign intensifies. At the Melbourne event, free call flutes, T-shirts and educational packages were handed out, part of the push for people to start conversations with friends, colleagues and those in their community about the referendum.
It's about this simple question: should the Aborigines be able to speak? Should we allow them to talk about things that are about them? Yes or no? I want you to vote yes, but only you can make that decision.
Despite most recent polling showing support for the voice is dropping, those at the event were not deterred.
Don't worry too much about those polls, because we've got people power.
For the referendum to pass, there needs to be a double majority, meaning at least 50% of the national population vote yes. There must also be a majority vote in at least 4 of the 6 states. The official date for the referendum is yet to be announced, but will likely be sometime in October.
Today's rally in Brisbane featured an address by Minister for Indigenous Australians Linda Burney. Brisbane Bureau Chief Adam Walters has more.
Yes, Linda Burney was speaking passionately to a crowd of around 500. She said the voice was all about recognition and consultation in the interests of delivering the best possible policies and results for First Nations communities everywhere via one single body.
It will be chosen by Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, and it will give advice to not only the executive government but also the Parliament. And what we're being asked in a few months' time is not what the colour of the carpet's going to be, but whether or not we believe Aboriginal people should be recognised in the founding document of this nation, the Australian Constitution. And the answer is what? The answer is what? Yes, that will be the answer.
Labor Senator and Aboriginal Elder Pat Dodson has spoken for the first time about the referendum, and he's warned that a no vote will seriously undermine Australia's international reputation and weaken this country's ability to criticise others for human rights abuses. The minister agreed, but believes the yes vote will prevail.
Patrick Dodson, the father of reconciliation, an incredibly wise and respected man. This referendum is about what we are seeing in this country. It is not okay that there is such a gap in life expectancy. It is not okay that there are 30 people living in a 3-bedroom home. The eyes of the world are truly on Australia, and I have every faith that Australians will rally and vote yes in this referendum. But
the minister is very mindful of the challenges that lie ahead for the Yes campaign. The latest news poll showing a drop of 4% to 43% of those supporting the affirmative, with those supporting the no vote representing 47% in that survey. New South Wales and Victoria are the only states tracking towards a yes vote in the majority.
Opposition leader Peter Dutton has criticised some of Australia's largest companies over their support for an Indigenous voice to Parliament. Mr Dutton has accused Rio Tinto, Wesfarmers and BHP of lacking a significant backbone after the corporations each donated $2 million to the Yes campaign. He He says it's not in Australia's best interest.
There are a lot of people who are just craving popularity and trying to please people in the Twitter sphere. I think there are debates that corporate Australia should be involved in, and at the moment, I don't think they're paying due consideration to the views of their workforce, to the views of the community.
Peter Dutton is calling for Australians to vote no at the upcoming Voice referendum. The opposition leader says the Prime Minister is taking the wrong approach, one which is dividing Australians rather than uniting them.
The Voice is not in our country's best interests, and on that basis I hope that people can support us in other tangible ways of finding better outcomes for Indigenous Australians, which is what we all desire.